The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, welcome everybody. It's the weekly Noyantis Usergroup Meeting. Today, the 23rd of July, 2018. As always, any questions or queries or issues or problems, then feel free to raise a hand. We'll get the microphones open and we'll cover the particular questions or points in hand, in ping. So, there was no youth group meeting last week because I was away. So there's not really been many updates because I was away. So we've got a question already. So just to recap on, there's not really many updates. There's obviously updates going on in the background, as there always is, and so on. But there's nothing really new to report per se, which is imminent. Okay, so we've got a question already from Roberto. Let's open the mic up because I can't quite see the whole question. So, hi Roberto.
Hello.
Hi Roberto, how you doing?
Okay.
So I've got any advance on trying to get the calendar permissions working? Yeah. This is the Google Calendar.
Right.
Yeah. No, at the moment, but that's only because I haven't actually had much of a chance to look at them. Good news for you is for a particular application that it's a customer's application, so I can't show it, but because of that work's now been completed, I've got to put a help guide together for them on how to accomplish exactly the steps. So for doing that, so I will be doing that. I'll be doing that this week.
But that's with the API and not the OAuth.
That's with
have you gotten any advance on the OAuth one?
No, I've not really.
Okay.
I've not really looked at it. That shouldn't be too bad because I'll basically just be lifting a good chunk of the code from the QuickBooks one, so that shouldn't be too bad. But at the moment, I have got to, like I say, I've got to do this help guide for the. I'm trying to think of the name of it. The client, the client access, if you will. So basically, once I've got that, and I know you've got a trial account for that, then I'll fire that over to you. So basically, you can get that, and I'll also make sure it's available to everybody as well. It will go into the next builds of the Chillcat wrapper. So
cool.
Actually, I did mention. I don't know if it's not really on the Google Calendar, but I just mentioned there was not really many updates. There has actually been a bit of an update to the Chillcat wrapper, and it's mainly to do with the socket wrapper, the socket part of the wrapper. Got a good working example of that now. It's as always with any third parties. Some of our requirements really do drive them forward, as well as your requirements. Now, on that, the requirement was to basically open up a socket from one country, from one app to another app, but one of them was over in China, so it would be behind firewalls, and the chances of you calling them was very remote. But yes, basically I've got a working example where you can open up sockets and pass messages and files and data and JSON content back and forth at speed. It's actually quite good.
Web sockets.
Web sockets ultimately, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, it's a socket wrapper, yeah. So, but it's working. Yes, it's working pretty sweet, if I say so myself.
Cool.
And good speeds out of it as well.
So that's always better.
Yeah. So the next example app for the Chillcat wrapper will include examples for WebSockets.
All right.
So, okay. Any other questions, or is it?
On those WebSockets?
Yeah.
Can you make it so that it requires a password or something like that?
Well, the actual content of the data is really up to yourself. I mean, one of the things I haven't done in the example, but I will be doing in the particular app, is the data. It's not so much requires a password, but that would be quite easy to do.
Some validation or something.
Yeah, some kind of handshaking and validation. That would be quite easy to do. I mean, on mine, I'm sending some predefined things which it knows to expect and so on. And then the data needs encrypting as well, because we don't want to leave it. We don't want to send it.
Right, because if
plain
it's
text.
open, then anybody can see what it is.
Exactly. So that's not very good. So, but the actual steps to accomplish it, what I'm doing, because it's going to be JSON content. It's actually the contents of TPS tables. So there's a little app which reads dynamically a table that you pass it, dumps it to JSON, and basically that JSON. Well, let me get the steps right. I've got to make sure I get the steps right. Reads that, dumps it to JSON. The JSON loads it into the string builder. String builder then goes off to the crypt2 to encrypt it. Then that string builder, uses crypt2 to encrypt the string builder content, and then we open up the socket and we use the send string builder object to get the data from one to the other.
Is encrypting part of the Shellcat also?
Yeah, yep.
All right.
So, and that's a bit that I'm doing next, because I wanted to make sure that I could get the handshaking and get stability and get all the things, working for the WebSockets. So yeah, that's been quite happy with that. Did some good tests on it and so on and so forth. So all I've really got to do now I know it goes across and what to expect and error out and so on. Now I know how that's done. It's just a matter of wrapping up some of the crypt2 class and encrypting the string builder content before it's sent, and then obviously decrypting as it's received. And then on the receiving side, I receive it into a string builder object. From there, I can do anything I like to it, decrypt it, load it into JSON. So, and then once I've got it decrypted, well, at the moment I've just received it, the JSON content, then I write out that table back, so it doesn't matter if the user's in that table. I just basically empty all the records out of it and repopulate it with the records from the receiving side.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
So yes. Okay. There's only yourself. No other questions. This could be one of the shortest lived webinars on record at this rate.
Once you say that, people start asking.
Well, there you go. Here's the challenge. So, no, still waiting. We shall. While we're waiting for maybe other people to join and for questions and so on, the bit that I'm just working on at the moment, this is an enhancement to the report control, and the plan is. Oh yes, I've just deleted that. Just 1 second. Yeah, the next build, which is in progress, again driven by my requirements, is we've got obviously the report control, and you can drop it onto the screen and manually populate it. Then you've got you can data bind it to a particular ADO source. You can take it from a queue and so on, and all the things that we've covered. What I want to do is basically the requirement is I need to load the data straight from SQL, but I don't want to use data binding. So what it will do is there's going to be basically you drop the report control on the screen. Probably that's not very. Drop the report control on the screen, and in the data source, and literally I've just typed in these are the two that I'm supporting to start with, the MS SQL and the MySQL. You'll be able to enter the connection string, any driver, particular things that you think you'll need, driver options, but the actual report control class will include the mechanism to be able to perform the prop SQLs for you on the back end with the where clause and the date time conversions and so on. So basically, it will query the back end and put the results straight into the report control for you.
It'll convert your filter?
No. I'm going to prompt you for the filter. I don't see the point in you if you're already using SQL and you want your report control to be based upon a SQL content. Then
okay, so just put your select statement there.
Yeah. So break it down into the order and the so on and so forth. Although the order again will be taken from the report control because you already specify the order in the columns.
Okay, so you just add that to your
The actual query. Yeah, exactly.
The query. You used
Yeah.
to add order by and so on.
Yeah. So yes, basically that's coming. And of course, as you would expect, just like you would if you was adding a Clarion browse, you would expect to have a number of support controls. So the insert, change, delete, the print, the view, the select, those type of buttons, the browse no records buttons, which we've all technically already got. You will have all of those for the report control. So basically, I just want to bypass the actual Clarion browse. It would be nice if we can also do it for the TPS as well. I'll be honest, but it's a lesser priority than MS SQL and MySQL.
Yeah, I agree.
So that's in progress as we speak, and that will be basically one. I need it for a particular project which we're doing in-house, which will be a commercial product. So we need it for that, and the other is a new reporting engine, which I've mentioned in the past, which will be based upon the report control. So it will be the heart of that as well, to harness the power of SQL to get your data, and then report control and chart pro to present the data. So yeah, so that's what's in progress, and all of these are actually needed by our clients pretty quick. So you can expect some pretty good movement on these. To be fair, only because the clients are already screaming for them.
Oh, those clients.
Yes, the application clients, not the template clients. So, okay, well, surely thought, Bill has. Where's Bill? So Bill's got a question. In fact, I'll open up the microphone as well. So there we go. Hi, Bill.
Hello, Andy. How was your vacation?
Do you know, it was very good. Thank you very much. It was just what the doctor ordered. It was only over to the place in France, but it was still very nice to down tools and relax for a week, kick back for a week.
There you go. Hey, I was playing around with and I know you just sent me that other example this morning. I haven't had a chance to do anything with that yet, but I was playing with the report control browse enhancer.
Yes.
And I'm in Legacy.
Yes.
And I loaded up a customer database that I had with about 6,000 records. And what I found was that doing any of the searches, the little drop-down searches you have.
Oh, yes. Yep.
It will only do what's in the current page.
It will, because the golden rule of any of the enhancers is basically, and it's not just the report control, it's any of the enhancers, is it will enhance what it can see. So of course, with ABC, your browse can be file or page loaded, and the better results are on the file loaded. But in Legacy, you only have the choice for page loaded. You don't have a choice for file loaded. So unless you do a little workaround behind the scenes and so on and so forth, which I don't really recommend. We do it, and I do it for exporting records out, and Send2 does it for exporting records out. But for normal browsers, I wouldn't recommend it. So basically it can only enhance what it can see, and a Legacy is ultimately page loaded. Is your data driver, is it TPS or SQL?
Yeah, this was a DAT, but...
Oh, okay. Yeah. You see, here's the thing. I've just said about the changes that's going on with it, and the driving force behind it is it's going to be SQL. So it's going to be the equivalent of a Clarion browse. So you just drop it on the screen, you put what columns you require, so on and so forth, and hey presto, you get your data, just like you would a browse. I'm going to do that for the SQL of MS SQL and MySQL, and we will cover the ISOM tables afterwards. So that would be covered, and so will top speakers. They're just, the flat ISOM tables. So they would be covered afterwards, but they won't be, they're not right up at the front. But the good news on that is it would be file loaded for you, which is exactly what you're after.
Yeah, I didn't know if there was some workaround that.
Well, there is a workaround. Let me find it in the template, how I do it. In fact, actually, how do I do it? Let me just take a quick look. Let's have a look if it's page loaded. No.
Yeah, because we went. I looked through that and saw that on the legacy ones it would only do page loaded. It wouldn't do a. But somehow soft velocity, when you're doing a search, actually search the entire database.
Yeah, well, they're technically going off reading, the whole record set, as you say, and so on, and scanning the whole results. So your scan will be visual because it's not just filter. You can search as well and do the highlighting and so on. So basically, you do have to do a trick. I'm trying to think what it is. It's along the lines of, I'd have to find it, but what you actually do is you change the height and the prop items of a list, and it turns it into file loaded. But I don't know if it'll be any good for yourself there. Not to be running the browser in that mode. It's fine for the likes of send to and data export and that type of thing. It's fine for that, but I'm not sure visually whether it'd work come runtime for you on a legacy page loaded. I'll be honest, it's something I'd have to try and check.
Yeah, unless we created a queue out of it, but.
You see, yes, you would have that option. You could very quickly, obviously, scan the records, put them into a queue, and then just do a list enhancer, and then you would have all the toys that you wanted, like the search, like the filter, populate the values, and so on and so forth. So you would have all of those. That is one option open to you. That's an immediate.
Yeah, I just didn't know if I was maybe missing something that you'd added, and
no, not
I kind of remember that from a couple of years ago, and then I thought, well, maybe it's been enhanced since then.
Do you know? I will take a look. Like I say, the workaround. I can't find it now here, but the workaround. Let me just see if any of these set the file loaded. Just 1 second. I'm not looking at all the tables here. Files, sorry. Okay, if it's so we've got that. This file loaded. No, so it's not that. I'm just trying to think where the thing is. Maybe on the send to compatibility. Oh no, because that would have already had its work done. 1 second. Just let me have a look in here. It's on the print. That's what I do. Because I give you the print control. Just 1 second, Bill. There it is for the legacy. you're looking along the lines of whatever the items to fill is, but this is just going straight forward to the whole records. Now, of course, if you've got a filter, that's not going to be good enough for you. But basically that would, you do the items to fill. So whatever your object is, BRW1 or BRW6, so on, it's items to fill, and we set it to the records. This is basically when this is doing a print. So as we know, it can only print what it can see, but in page loaded mode or legacy mode, then what we can do is say, okay, items to fill is the whole table. Change the prop items to that number, and you reset the record count depending on a condition. Where are we? If it equals to that, okay. And then you tell it to fill direction, fill forward, and it resets the browse.
So those basically those 4 lines of code.
Yeah, you probably want those. Where is this going in? Records, reload before. Let's have a look at where that's called. Nothing in there. Okay, so when you do the print report, and it says, okay, if a reload is true, then it will go off, insert that code, forget the thing about the progress bar, and then we have a reload after. And all that's going to do is really put it back to how it found it, which is, yeah, it stores copies of the items beforehand. So basically, it's put the original number back, it's put the original line height back, so on and so forth, and puts itself back as it found it. So they press the print. If it's file loaded, that's no problem, because you're enhancing the whole whatever is in the file. So that goes. If it's page loaded, be it legacy or ABC, then what it does is it forces it into file loaded mode, which does the whole table, then does exactly what you're after, printing out, so on and so forth, and then puts it back as it found it. For you, you'd probably want to put those, maybe not, you probably want to put these in the init or maybe some kind of reset. I don't do too much in legacy, I'll admit, so I would have to do some playing there to find that myself. But they're the main things you're after. You change the whatever class it is, which is they're just properties really of the particular browse. You change the items to fill. You change the prop items of the control. We set the record count. Be interested, have to have a look at that, and then we do the fill direction, and we force it to go off and do a refresh. A fill record, and that fill record is going to take notice of the items to fill, so it's going to go off and fill the lot.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It might literally be a simple case of have a look in your generator source code, have a look at the items to fill, and override it with the records on your table. That would essentially, probably those two, to be fair, turn it into the file loaded for you.
Yeah, I wonder if you had more records to fill than you did items in your file, if it would really affect anything.
I wouldn't have thought. I mean, let's try a quick test here. Now, I'll probably take this out afterwards, but I've got a page loaded. Let's have a quick look here. We've got a page loaded enhancer. Okay. So we can see here items to fill. Did I type that right? That's a page loaded browse, and it's sorry, no, this is ABC. So yeah, we really need a legacy one of them. Let's create a legacy. Just getting the thing through, won't be a sec. Webinars. Okie dokie.
Of course, we only got 4 people on the thing, so I may be the only one using legacy of the 4. So
You see, John's not here today, and I know John, his whole thing is set on legacy. So yeah, he probably does this thing all the time. No, we didn't want that. We wanted new solution. So we're going to say new application. We want put it in that. Auto create. No. Legacy file loaded. How does that sound? Now we're going to pinch one of the tables out of there. Oh, do you know I've just created an ABC? It's force of habit. Just let me do that again.
yeah, I've tried some stuff with the, when you get into the real large databases, even using like the memory in-memory table, it takes too long to load for the end user, and when they click on that, like I've got parts files that have like 500,000 or 1 million records.
Yeah.
And you try to load those, it just wouldn't work on. But
well, the enhancers, I'll be honest, they've served a very good purpose, but now it's time for them to evolve again. Hence why I want to do our own browse class, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, that would really be.
No, it's MDI. So this is just a wizard-generated browse.
Sure.
Okie dokie. We need quite a few more records in here, and that's an MDI as well. Should have really just created a main app frame, shouldn't I? Okie dokie, that's that one. So let's just chuck a few records in, so we know that we're blatantly more than what we need. Would it be faster to write a quick routine? We'll just take it up to 30 to 40. I think that'll be enough.
Oh yeah, that would be plenty.
Okie dokie.
Yeah, and you'd think that soft velocity allows you to use ABC templates in a legacy app.
They do, yeah.
But they won't let you use the browse template. At least I can't figure a way out.
So, okay, so we've definitely got more than a page worth there. We purposely made it small. So we'll have our report control on it. And we'll enhance it. Yep, we'll just go with that. There's our browse enhance. Brilliant. Now we happen to know if we turn the filtering on, or the search, it doesn't really matter, we expect to see only certain values, don't we? So inline filters as good as any, let it build. So we drop this down and there's no 0, 1, 0, 2, 0, 3, so on and so forth. Okay. Oh. Yeah. So we're only getting a part of the records, which we know. So what we want to try and do is rig that so yeah, we are getting more. So there's your items to fill. Browse one. Scroll one. Look at my code here. So my idea is we just put it under a button to start with, and then if it works, we'll put it under the particular relevant point. So file load. So we want that. We want our prop items to equal that. I'm not so much bothered about why I've done the record count. Not sure. Here's the type of code which we were talking about before. Not sure what I've done there. Blatantly just been copying blind from the other one, but let's take a look anyway. Fill direction equals fill forward. Set let's take a look at that. Let's see if it works. So we know we've only got those. You can see blatantly where I've just rigged this prop items. Now if we take a look, oh, better check that's actually rebuilt. So we'll call our own rebuild on that. Okay, so pressing that. sure what's gone on here because something's gone on.
It showed up there.
Okay. Okay, so 48. Got 48. I'm just wondering why the rest of the 01, 02 aren't in there.
Well, there may be a separate initialization for the for those drop downs.
And the records are actually duplicated. 24-hour. It's almost as though it's done. Must be missing something. We'll put the print on there as well, just to make sure that that is working as we expect. So, print preview. There you go. Oh, whatever. That'll do. And it's the browse enhancer browse one. Report control, just that. Reload. Force a full browse reload before the preview. So, if I do a preview now. I'm unable to click on the other records, but I'm not quite sure why. Actually, I'm unable to click on any records. Getting a bit of a strange effect on it, actually, if you want the truth. Check it, you don't have any problems. You've got your browse and you can just click and so on and so forth. Bill?
Yes?
Yeah, so if you just look here, when I run...
Hey,
Well,
Andy, when you print it out, does it GPF on you if you're using 18.4? The preview works, but when you print, it'll GPF.
I can take a quick look.
Is this using 18.4? It works fine with 18.3 and previous.
Yeah, that's using 18.4.
How about if you print from the preview? It might be a driver. Ale was saying that his GPFs, but I'm thinking maybe it's the driver. Maybe it's not compatible.
Yeah, I mean, I'll try. Let's try. That's Primo. Let me try print to Microsoft. Print to PDF, something like that.
Seems to work fine.
Oh, presume that's somewhere. Documents AA. Yeah, no, it's it's doing that. So it should be fine. It's more I'm having problems here just clicking. I'm actually going to create a normal app frame and just make it like a traditional app. Make sure nothing's catching me out. Oh. Okay, let's just take a quick look. Just got that main browse. Shouldn't make any difference with us calling it, but I just want to put it what we would consider a traditional app. Well, Bill, to answer we're getting something. We're getting the records in the queue, so we can see that. Might just take that out and just do fill. But we seem to be getting the same records twice over. So that's
yeah,
a bit,
sure.
yeah, 24 hour, 24 hour de more. Down to soft velocity. And if you look at this one, we're getting the 1 to 8 followed by 1 to 8. I'm not quite sure why we're getting that. It's like it's reloaded them, but it hasn't, if that makes sense. Let's take a look at fill record. Fill direction. This is where it's at record count. Fill direction equals fill forward. Get to the record count. Something really strange going on, Bill. Without doing a lot of digging, I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know basically how to rig it, so to speak. And the more worrying thing I've got to admit is I wouldn't know what the side effects were going to be. We can see straight away this here, the score.
Yeah, could start grabbing the wrong records and all kinds of stuff. I think I'd be better off approaching it through the queue.
I've got to admit, I think for stability and for ease of testing as well going into it, and probably actually a bit of speed, because if you all you're doing here is loading into their queue so that I can go and read that and put them into my own queue and so on and so forth. Well, if we put them straight into, you read them straight into your own queue, then you can enhance that queue immediately. You'll have all the functions available to you and so on and so forth. So I think you'd be better off the queue approach.
Yeah, I think so also. It's just a question of figuring out the easiest way to load a queue with 5 or 6, 7,000 records.
Is it a multi-user system or?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I was going to say you've got exclusive access, and you use the flush command and things like that. Sorry, stream.
Yeah, in fact, I even when the memory tables first came out, I thought, well, this is going to be great for these. I got a couple browsers with, like I said, 500,000 or 1 million records in the parts file.
Yeah.
Items, and I thought, well, maybe you could do something like copy the file to the memory file, and it won't let you do that, which you would think that you could copy a file and get your queue built that way.
Well, you could write a function for it, a method for it, but ultimately all it's doing there is it's going to literally create a queue, the same structure as your table, and it's going to read them all out of the DAT or TPS and put them straight into the queue, which is ultimately what you can just do yourself. So that's all a copy is really going to do, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I was just looking for, because I found that to load the in-memory table would take almost a minute to do, and then it'd be even slower if you're going through a network. So,
what about having a global? Mind you, it's got to be network friendly. But I was going to say, what about loading it up on system initialization? Because if it's a table that doesn't change that often, or at least the core parts of it, then what about during initialization? You load up them into a global queue, and then that way you can just list enhance a global queue. When you go into the screen, it'd be immediate. It just means you'd have to take a system initializing as your first login in the morning, but at least the day-to-day running, the day-to-day, the daily running of it and so on wouldn't take the hit. You'd be loading them into memory to start with.
Yeah, I've done that on a couple tables where I know they don't change very often, and I put a little I've got a little refresh button on the screen, so if somebody adds or deletes a record, I can force it to refresh that queue.
Yeah.
and I actually write them out to a text file, and it seems to work quite well. But if you get something like customers or whatever where there's a lot of activity,
yeah, you wouldn't be able to do that because chances are you've got customers and you've got customer balances, so you're going to have to be refreshing that all the time anyway and things like that. So yeah, that I suppose even your item queue, you might have stock levels. Now, of course, they're going to be changing. So yeah, it's a tough one.
And the relations and all that.
Yeah, but I know we have in the past system where it was dental, but you had certain various different items, ways of treating people on different dental plans as well for payment plans. So you ended up with thousands of records, but once they were set up, they would change once in a blue moon. So the idea was during the initialization, we could put those into global queues, and then you got the best of both worlds. And if somebody did go into a system setup and change a particular item, then yes, they would have to go and reload. But that was once every so many months, so it really wasn't a problem.
There's no way to have a global queue that can be shared by other users, is there?
No, because it's just memory on the local machine.
That's what I thought. But.
Yeah. I'm just trying to think of another way.
Appreciate you looking at that.
Oh, no problem. I was just trying to think if there's another way, because even when I do the browse, you're still going to have that initial hit. You're still going to be loading it into some kind of queue, be it my queue or Clarion's queue. You're still going to be reading them records into a queue, so you're still going to have a delay while they load up.
Well, I think that's why their page loaded works so quickly.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Are only loading a portion.
So, but yeah, the enhancer, the rule of the enhancer is it can only enhance what it sees, and unfortunately, like I say, if it's page loaded, which legacy are, then your hands are tied a bit to a degree.
Sure. Well, I'll try it in a queue type situation and see how that.
The queue loading and the enhancing is really simple. It literally is. Define a queue, plonk it on the screen, something along the lines of, just to help you along the way here. Let's just do another queue. We'll just do a queue test. So let's get a window. That will do. So we just want a local queue. We're just going to have probably 4 fields in it. Again, this is legacy, but it really doesn't matter. To do the thing then, but okay. We'll have name, code, just a couple of fields. Obviously, yours would be whatever you needed them to be. Drop a list on the screen. Take it from your queue and basically go to the extensions, add the report control list enhancer on the extension. So we're going to have that. Which list is it? It's that list. We'll just give it a nice. Oh, you don't have the class name. So yes, basically it's that list, and that would do it. We haven't got no data in there, obviously, but we can do that in a second. But let's actually. I'll not give it any fields. I just thought of that then. Name, code. like so. Actually, there's
We got to load the queue.
yeah, but I'm not actually seeing the actual report control in the first place. Just let me do a full recompile on it. Yeah, that's the Clarion list I'm looking at. You've just is that list enhancer not doing it on a legacy? Because we covered this a couple of weeks back for Steve Wilson, but it was ABC. It's almost as though it's not actually seen my selection. Edit in place. Yeah, it's as though it's not enhancing it. I think we got a bug there. Okay, Bill, I'm going to look into that because I think, well, I know that should have just enhanced the actual standard Clarion list. When we'll put some data in it, but it really shouldn't make any difference. We should have already had the control on the screen. No, actually no. Yeah, do that. We'll pull a couple of records in there. Yeah, the actual enhancer of that. It must be, that's a bug. Right, I'll look at that after this. I suppose got a tiny bit of time to look at it now. But basically, I'll look at that and get an update out prior to me doing the other particular changes, which are in progress. I'll just comment them. So you push ahead and do the queue, Bill, and I'll get you the update out. It'll be out tomorrow for that.
Oh, okay. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem. It's kind of thrown me why that's not done it because yeah, there's absolutely no reason why that shouldn't. And I know it works in ABC because we covered it, like, say, 2-3 weeks ago for Steve Wilson, for a particular scenario where he wanted to enhance a list. So yeah, goes to show don't do everything in the legacy. We should really test it a little more. Okay, any other questions? No? Okay, I think if that's that, I'm going to actually take a look into this to get this build out. So we shall wrap it up if there's no other questions. Thank you all, and I'll see you next week.
Thank you very much,
Okay.
Andy.
Cheers. Thank you, everybody. Bye.